squared tried to slide off the page, but I caught it. So that squared should be up a little higher. It tried to run away, but we nailed it down. Okay, so I have x squared plus y equals 6, and y equals x plus 3. Is this already set up for substitution? Do I already have one of the variables equals? Yeah. So I'm going to plug this in here. Okay? X squared plus x plus 3 equals 6. Everybody get that? It could be, but there's nothing. If it was like 2y and you plugged it in, then you do 2 times x plus 3. And then you need to multiply in. But because this y is all by itself, you don't necessarily need the parentheses. If you put them there, they would just go away. So I didn't write them because you don't need them. Okay. How do I set this up for factoring? Right, for factoring, we need two things. We need the problem to equal 0, and we need the x squared to be positive. So I'm going to subtract 6, and I get x squared plus x minus 3 equals 0. Now I'm going to try to put it in the box. X squared, negative 3. Negative 3 times x squared is negative 3x squared. Can I find factors of negative 3 that add to be 1? My only options are 1 and 3. Do those work? No. If I can't factor it, then I'm going to graph it and find the roots that way. You could use the quadratic formula, but the quadratic formula is going to give you like 3 plus or minus the square root of 5 over 2. And then you're going to need to turn that into a decimal anyway, or it doesn't make much sense in this context. So we're just going to go ahead and graph it. So x squared, what was it, plus x minus 3? Is that right? Okay, graph. All right, one of my answers looks really close to 1.5. So I'm going to do second, calc, number 2 for 0. My left bound is 0, my right bound is 3, and my guess will be 1. And I get x equals 1.3. Now I'm going to find the other one. Second, calc 0. It looks like it's negative 2.5. So I'll set my right bound and my left bound and my guess. And I get x equals negative 2.3. Okay? Am I done? No, those are only the x values of the intersections. So now I need to find the y values. Which equation do I want to use to find my y values? The bottom one is much easier. If I put in 1.3, what is 1.3 plus 3? 4.3. And negative 2.3 plus 3? I don't think so. So if I did negative 2.3 plus 3, it should be 0.7. And there I'm done. Okay? All right. Look at number 2. So for number 2, is it set up for substitution? Not yet. What is the easiest variable to solve for? Y would be the easiest. So I'm going to add x and add x. The reason we chose y instead of x, if I move the y to the other side, then I have negative x, and then I need to change the signs. So it would just be easier to move the x. So that would equal, y would equal x plus 1. Now I'm going to put x plus 1 in here. And this is a little bit tricky. X squared plus x plus 1 squared equals 41. How do I multiply, or how do I perform x plus 1 to the second? I need to distribute. It's not x squared plus 1 squared. That never works. So I need to write this out twice. This is still x squared. What does that give me? Plus x squared. What does that give me? Plus x. What does this give me? X again. What does this give me? 1. And then I need to move this over. What would 41 be on the left side? Negative 41. Now I simplify. What do I have for my x squared term? 2x squared. What do I have for my x term? 2x. And then this is minus 40. Can I simplify that equation? I can divide it by 2. So that would be x squared plus x minus 20 equals 0. You could graph it from this point and find the roots, but let's check to see if it factors. X squared and negative 20. Times those together and I get negative 20x squared. Are there factors of 20 that add to be 1? Negative 4x and 5x. So this would be x minus 4 plus 5. So if I set this equal to 0, I get x equals 4. If I set this one equal to 0, I get x equals negative 5. Okay? So now I look back at my original problem. Oh, wait a minute. I want to pick the equation that makes finding y as easy as possible. Which of those three equations is the easiest to find y? The one that says y equals. This is the easy equation. So if I put 4 in there, so that would be 5. If I put negative 5 in there, negative 5 plus 1 would be negative 4. And I'm done. Okay. Look at number 3. Which variable do you want to solve for in number 3? The y value in the top. So y equals 7 minus 3x. That's what you're going to plug in here. Okay? Take a look at number 4. Which variable do you want to solve for in number 4? Well, it's already solved, right? So I'm going to put x squared in here. And then I'm going to move everything to one side and factor. Okay? Number 5, which variable do you want to solve for? Well, if I divide this by 2, do I really want to plug a fraction in? It'll work, but if you can avoid it, don't do it. So I wouldn't choose that one. I would solve for x, and the top or bottom doesn't really matter. It turns out to be just about the same. So on the top one, you could have x equals y squared minus 3. And then you would plug this in here and move everything to one side and factor. Okay? If you create a new quadratic and it doesn't factor, or if you don't like factoring, just graph it, find the roots, and then plug those x values back in. Okay? Good. Get to work. Good luck.